Good evening, people. We are back and we are live. If many of you have been following the channel, those of you who are in the chat now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you've noticed that we haven't been live very much. I've been doing videos as consistently as possible. I think daily uploads for the most part, and I enjoy doing them, but there genuinely is nothing better and nothing more enjoyable than being live, chatting to you guys when we can. Chatting with Joe. Obviously, Joe hasn't had a chance to speak on anything that's happened this week. Neither has Dara, but I'm sure we'll get Dara back on in the next week or two whenever he's around. We do plan, I know I've said this a few times, but we do plan on going live more. I have recently gone sort of full time with YouTube, so I have a lot more time to go live. Whereas before this week, I was doing my day job, I was doing uni, I was doing assignments, I was doing YouTube, I was trying to watch the football. My life was too hectic, so I've taken a few things out of my life to focus on what I want to do. Joe's on the same level as me. He wants to work on this, so we will go live more. The daily videos will still continue, but you will hear from Joe and Dara more because they are very much part of this platform and they deserve to get their opinions. So we're live tonight. We're back. I don't know how the views will be. I don't know how the support will be. Make sure you smash the like button on your way in if you haven't done so already. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new. Share it about. Tell the world the 1894 are back live. We're just over 5.5k right now on the subscriber chart. We're closing in on that 6k. I think last time we went live, we were still below 5k, so it feels like quite some time ago. But listen, it's great to be back. It's great to see some of the old regular faces in the building. We're going to talk about basically the most of what happened this week. I know transfers is the title, transfers is the thumbnail. Joe has some transfer talk he wants to get into, some stuff that I wasn't even too aware of myself. I've been too consumed with all these legal battles. I've turned into solicitor Hugh this week, involuntarily. By the way, I had no interest in becoming a solicitor or learning about any of this stuff, but I've done my best to understand it. So it'll be nice to have a bit of conversation about that with Joe, and also it'll be nice to distract ourselves from the cold world of legalities and charges and talk a bit about transfers and what we might like to see this summer from Manchester City. Let's see who we have in the building. Like I said, great to see some of the regular names again. I see so many of you. We've got Dano, D1, Rust, Luke, Only Blue in Village, Fraser, Darsh. It's great to see so many of you. Do smash the like button if you haven't done so already. It massively helps the channel. The support recently on the daily videos that I'm doing, the short snippets that you guys seem to enjoy, has been absolutely class. Some great views, some great likes numbers and all that kind of thing. So any of you who are showing love regularly, big up to you. But listen, Joe, it's been a while, my friend, since you were live. Me and you, we play pro clubs every night and we chat every single day. But it's been a while since you got to talk about your club. Just before we stopped going live regularly, you became a bit of a controversial figure for your De Bruyne opinions, your De Bruyne opinions, a few other bits and bobs. But listen, how are you? It's good to have you back on the channel.
I'm happy to be back. There's a lot that has happened. I think the last time that I believe the last time that we were live was just after the Wolves game, after United lost to Arsenal at the Emirates. I think that was the last time I think I said anything, and since then we've played another couple of games. We've got into more legal trouble, or supposed legal trouble. We're going through that process. Loads of transfer targets lining up all over the place, left, right and centre. There's so much going on that it's almost like my head was ready to explode with just thoughts of everything, because you just see it just builds up and up and up. The less and less that it's. I think it's because I got so used to being able to talk about it and sort of get it out of my system and get it out of my head and sort of air my thoughts on things that were happening, especially after games where, because I like saying what I see, that I just didn't have the opportunity to do that. And there's so much that has happened, genuinely so much. And not all of it is good, of course, which naturally, not everything in life is going to be good. But I believe that, there is light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the legal thing. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows too much about that. About the ins and outs of that. People have been coming to their own conclusions. There's been a lot of, well, it's just against everyone really, isn't it? I mean, you look everywhere in the media and representatives from different clubs, and especially the Sky coverage is very sort of, they try to be impartial, but you can tell they're not fully impartial because no one really likes us. We know no one really likes us, but it's kind of hard to really make anything out of that situation because I don't know the details. I haven't read through the handbook. I don't know exactly what we've been charged with because I haven't read through each and every single one of the 100 plus charges that we've, been handed. So it's hard to get my head around, but I'm not really paying attention to that. My forte is more the football side of things. I'll let all the really expensive lawyers just do the business.
Right, we may as well, before we talk about the nicer conversation, which of course is transfers and what we would like to see moving forward, we may as well talk about as much as we can anyway, because like I said, I'm no real solicitor, even though I've done my best to learn about it this week. I'm not a solicitor. It does take the fun out of making content when you have to talk about these things. Most City fans have made it clear that make content that we never asked to be in this position. This isn't something we could have prepared for, but unfortunately, when we do try to represent our clubs as best we can, it's something that we can't ignore. I made a video myself during the week talking about it. I outlined my thoughts when it sort of first broke. I spoke about it briefly on another video after that, and then I spoke about it on a number of streams. So I'm up to my neck in terms of making content and talking about this. Obviously, 115 charges, I believe, is around the number we're at. Financial fair play, breaking long grass, disguised payments. Mancini's payments apparently stopped United win the league. Mancini's payments apparently made Gerrard slip. Premier League clubs banding together to try and take us down. Pep had a press conference today. He came out swinging hands, much to the happiness of Manchester City fans. Joe, you may as well take me back to the very start and dissect it a bit and let me know your thoughts, and everyone in the chat, get in your thoughts on anything we speak about, including the press conference today, because I made a video on that earlier on. Go check it out if you haven't done so already. But let's get into it, Joe, a little bit, and let me know what you think.
Again, it's hard to really you can't come to any conclusion. It's not really hard. It's impossible to come to any conclusion because none of us are experts in, the legalities and all that sort of stuff. So none of us know the exact outcome. Of course, we know the two sides, that the Premier League aren't backing down, but from the City side of things, we seem to be very confident. I think Pep's words were, we're even more confident than we were taking on UEFA because we've been through this before. We know what to expect. We know what we've been through before, and we kind of know sort of roughly what we're getting into, and the club believe they're innocent. And I mean, you're just going to have to trust the board's judgment on that. They think they're innocent. They think that these charges are false and that they have done no wrong. You kind of have to go with that. And if they do turn out to be wrong, that's when you ask the questions about, what happens to the board, what happens to, the hierarchy at the club. You don't turn on the owners or anything like that just yet, because, I mean, what happens to innocent till proven guilty? That's sort of, I think everybody's in agreement that should be the case. Although, if you ask rival fans, again, we should be punished, we should be relegated, we should be stripped titles, we should be docked points, fines, transfer bans, sent down to the Vanarama. Like, they're trying to push this, and I think it was today actually, that City think that Daniel Levy is the sort of spearhead for this sort of case against City, which is really odd because Spurs are just Spurs. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, why would they want us relegated? They're not on our playing field at the moment. I know they just beat us, but they don't challenge for titles or anything. That's what we're doing. So I'm kind of surprised that it's Spurs. I would have imagined it was more United or maybe Liverpool or maybe even Arsenal because they're top of the league. But that would just really, really confuse me. And of course, again, I don't know what's going to happen. But again, the big six are supposedly trying to push for a judgment by the end of the season. That is not going to happen. There's 100 charges. It's not going to be done in 3 to 6 months. It's going to take a couple of years. We're looking at the situation where Pep Guardiola might have been and gone. Like, his contract might be up and he might have left before this gets resolved. We don't know how long this is going to take. And I mean, we're just going to have to sit here and wait and see what happens, because again, none of us can predict the outcome. We can try and sort of theorize, maybe some conspiracy theorists on why this has come about. I know there's a lot of talk about this white paper, the independent regulator coming in, and that decision being postponed, and then the Premier League taking action. Is it some sort of last gasp attempt to try and stop this independent regulator going in, and the Premier League trying to prove that they can run themselves and they don't need someone to come and help them with that side? I don't know what it is. I think that's a popular theory that I've seen that, it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, because they don't want us to have a seat at the table. They don't want us to be part of the hierarchy because they just don't like us. So it's not out of question. I don't think you can come to that, conclusion that this is the Premier League just trying to do it to essentially save their asses and be able to run themselves. But it looks very likely, because if the club are very, very confident that they have done no wrong, and they're almost, I think it was a couple of days ago, I saw the word excited being branded about. Why would you be excited to go to court if you're guilty? Why would you be excited to go to court if you are going to be found guilty, or there's even like a decent chance you're going to be found guilty? So I don't know. I'm confident we will come out on the other side relatively unscathed. Maybe a fine. I doubt points deductions, but I can't rule it out yet. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I can't wrap my head around this, but I do believe that we will come out unscathed. I don't think there's, or relatively unscathed. I don't think there's, I don't know what evidence they can bring to the table, the Premier League, because they're basically trying to charge us on dishonesty and lying about our accounts or something of that nature, which is hard to prove, us lying on accounts from 10, 15 years ago. So I don't know. It's really hard. Again, I'm confident. I'm calm about the situation because at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. So I'm just, what'll happen will happen.
I'm calm about the situation on the basis that the club have told us pretty much to be calm about the situation. When the club come out with a statement, the initial statement, saying that we have irrefutable evidence and we welcome the investigation, we're excited to clear our name once and for all, we as a fan base have to take that at face value and perfectly accept that we are innocent, because we can't start turning on the club and the board now and saying, no, this rival fan has told me we're guilty, so we must be guilty. No, we as a fan base have to stick together and we have to stick by the club. And if we are found guilty, like I said, neither of us, and I don't think anyone in the chat, unless we have solicitors or people who work for the Premier League, none of us really know what the fuck is going on. We're reading reports, we're reading the alleged charges, and we're reading everything that we've told we've been done wrong. But that's just it. That's just what it is. So we have to just wait. And if we are guilty, at that point, then we will ask the questions. At that point, then we will ask who in the board has fucked up, who has made these decisions, and how it got to this point. Why did you make these decisions? And we talk about that part of that member of the board or the board as an entire entity to be sacked and turfed out. But right now, there's absolutely no reason for us to be going into turmoil and kicking off the club and going into divisions, fan base divided and that kind of thing. And to be fair, I don't think I've seen the City fan base dividing. I think everybody is perfectly behind the club. Everybody wants this siege mentality that's been spoken about all day since the Pep Guardiola press conference to be a thing. Use this to our advantage, take some strength from it, take some motivation from it, whatever you need to do. Because it does very much seem like it's us versus the world right now. And I went and I looked back on the UEFA cast case. We weren't making content at the time, so I for whatever reason, I never looked into it too deeply. I never felt I had to make any content about it, or I never had to speak about it in great depth, because it was just, listen, it's over, we've won the case, happy days. But what's pissing me off is what people are saying about that case, what media are saying about that case, and what rival fans are saying about that case is that we won entirely on a time-barred situation. We won under a technicality, and basically the case couldn't run its course because of a time situation, when the media and press release had resurfaced in the last 24 hours saying that we were cleared of disguising any payments in regards to the Etihad Airways deal. That was a big deal, disguised payments, which we were cleared innocently of. So we won that case on the basis of innocence, is what I'm reading, and it's what I'm understanding from the situation. So it's pissing me off that rival fans, I'm not gonna lie, it does piss me off, because people are trying to talk shit in our name when we've been found guilty of absolutely nothing. I say, no, you got off on that one under a technicality, you're cheaters, the optics don't look great. Mate, fuck your optics. I don't want to hear about your optics, Dave from Merseyside, or John from Salford. I don't want to hear about what the optics look like, because the optics look the exact same as they do to me and you. We haven't been found guilty of absolutely anything. So optics mean absolutely nothing. Many people are basing their guilty judgments of Manchester City off a hacked email, which was leaked apparently in the last week or so. Anybody can make a hacked email. Open up Microsoft Word and type what you want. I'm not saying this email isn't legitimate and isn't hacked and everything on it is perfectly real. But that's why City don't have to give up their documents. That's why City don't have to give up any of their information, because a hacked email doesn't stand in the court of law. Once again, this is just what I'm hearing and what I've been told. I'm not giving you gospel here, but from what I understand, that's how it works. City don't have to provide any documents based off a hacked email. It's not legitimate evidence. So people coming across like they're lawyers in their black shirts and ties, it makes no sense to me, acting as judge, jury, and executioner to something that hasn't been concluded, hasn't had a fair trial, and you're forgetting that in this country, Ireland and the UK, the presumption of innocence until proven guilty absolutely stands. So as of right now, whether you like it or not, rivals, if anybody's watching or this goes anywhere, Manchester City are innocent. And this may drag on 2, 4, 6, 8 years. And until the judge smacks the hammer saying City have been found guilty of this, that, the other, we are perfectly innocent. The club say we're innocent. The law says we're innocent. So we're innocent right now. Like I said, if we're found guilty of these charges in the future, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But that's what's annoyed me this week is rival fans.
I'm sorry to cut across you. There's quotes coming out right now, or pieces of news coming out right now saying that. What was it? There was one here. Daniel Levy received messages of support from other Premier League clubs after Pep Guardiola called him out, and Premier League clubs reacted angrily to Pep Guardiola's press conference, which many of them considered to be.
Of course they do.
Yeah, they're sending letters of support to Daniel Levy because Pep name dropped him, and they're angry that he called them out, which he rightly called them out and named off the 9 clubs that wrote a letter to get us banned from Europe, because they wrote that letter in an attempt to make sure that ban in European football was put in place. And then when we won the case, they got called out then, and now that we're in another case, they're being called out now, because I wouldn't rule out another letter being written by the majority of the Premier League clubs to the Premier League saying, kick these out.
So basically, Pep hurt Daniel Levy's feelings today. So the Premier League all wrote letters of support to Daniel Levy saying, don't mind big bad Pep, don't mind big bad Manchester City. We'll get them. We'll take them down, Daniel. Don't worry. We've got Manchester City on lock here. We'll get them sent down to the Vanarama. Don't worry, Daniel. Don't let your feelings be hurt. Man, fuck your feelings. You were at the spearhead of trying to get us taken down before, and you're at the spearhead of trying to get us taken down now. That seems to be fact from what people are saying, or from what reports are saying, and what Manchester City believe. So listen, Daniel Levy can go suck his mum. I don't know. What are the other reports saying?
That's it for now. I just seen it pop up on my phone from City Report. This is from Matt Hughes of the Daily Mail. Several club executives strongly deny pushing the Premier League to take action. So they're denying that they are pushing the Premier League into banning us, but then sending letters of support when we call them out for doing so. So why would your feelings be hurt if you're not doing? If we're calling you out for something, why would your feelings be hurt if you're not doing it? Surely you just go, he's lying. I don't really care.
Listen, the whole thing just reeks of jealousy and fear of Manchester City. It really does. I'm saying this because this is a City space, and I assume most people in the chat are City fans. The whole thing reeks of jealousy, doesn't it? I mean, if we have, like I said, and I'll keep reiterating this, if we have committed these crimes and we're completely guilty of everything, listen, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That is a problem if it gets to that point. But as of right now, we're not. But all these Premier League clubs banding together, Daniel Levy spearheading an attack on Manchester City, whatever it is, it reeks of these clubs saying we have to take them down, and we have to take them down as soon as possible. These heritage clubs, these clubs with legacy and pedigree and history, they don't like the fact that City have come in all shiny and new with money, new stadium, new training ground, pumping money into the women's team, into the academy, the first team, East Manchester as a community. They don't like that we have come in and upset the peace within the top 4 as it was at the time, and basically taken the piss and bullied all of them for over a decade. They don't like that. So they're going, right, we have to take them down. We'll band together, and together in numbers, we can take them down. That's what it absolutely stinks of. It stinks of jealousy, doesn't it? All these clubs, Manchester United, barely a lick of paint on Old Trafford. Roy Keane's toenails still in the jacuzzi. The same toaster there that Cristiano Ronaldo used to have his breakfast with in 2007. And we have a state-of-the-art CFG, 14 clubs around the world, a brand new stadium, shiny new players, trophy after trophy. But how can Manchester City make more money than Manchester United? We sell more shirts. Mate, a successful club. 6 Premier Leagues in 11 years, all the domestic trophies. That's going to generate sponsorships. Holland alone, if we want to talk about shirts, has sold probably more shirts than any other club in the Premier League has done so this season. So the idea that City can make more money than another club is not completely alien. Just because you're used to Man United turning over the most revenue doesn't mean that can't be overdone. When you win no trophies, you run the risk of decreasing your revenue. That's simple as. I'm no financial expert, but the way I would assume that's how it runs is the big companies who have a kitty and a budget to put into sponsorships of football clubs will want to be associated and attached to the clubs that are winning the most and have the best players, play the best football, the best manager. That makes sense to me. No business expert, no genius. I'm just a football fan, but at face value, that's the way it looks to me, and that's what I would do. If I ran a multi-million-pound business and I said, I want to sponsor a football club in England, who am I going to sponsor? Who can I sponsor? Look at Manchester City. They're winning trophy after trophy. They're playing great football. I want to be associated with them. Manchester United have been in turmoil for the best part of a decade, played shit football, manager after manager that couldn't bring success, trouble in the dressing room. Why would I want to sponsor them? That's what makes sense to me. But I could be wrong. Maybe you in the chat could let me know. Am I talking absolute bollocks? I mean, what do you think on that? Because that seems to be a thing thrown at me regularly on shows and on Twitter is what's fishy and what doesn't look good on the optics is City turned over more money than Real Madrid and Barcelona. Big Steve made a great point. West Ham and Leicester turned over more money last year than AC Milan, Serie A winners. How has that happened? Because the Premier League turns over more money as it is. The Premier League is a super league. Mate.
The Premier League has the highest commercial league. It earns the most money when you get the likes of, like you said, West Ham and Leicester. You get Bournemouth spending more money as well. Teams like that who have just come up from the Championship spending more money. The Premier League is a commercial gold mine, right? So the money you get for winning the Premier League is also going to be stacked. And we've won the Premier League in 4 out of the last 5 years. So, of course, our accounts are going to be stacked with cash for winning the trophies. We've reached a Champions League final. We've reached a Champions League semi-final in the last couple of years. We've won, countless domestic trophies. And the thing is that I don't understand about the whole shirt sale argument is I am almost certain that kit manufacturers pay out the money before a shirt has even been sailed. They pay out the kit sponsorship deals before a shirt's even sailed. I don't know how much that actually, accounts to bringing in money, because I saw the argument there from Football Always saying Ronaldo's sold more shirts than salaries held in Egypt. That might be the case, but I think the whole shirt sales and merchandise is very, very overplayed. I think it's very, very overplayed. I don't think it accounts for that much of your income. You are more likely to earn more income by winning the Premier League than finishing third and having a few more shirt sales. Of course you are. That is just the facts of the situation. It also doesn't help that United, half the time they're in the Europa League recently, so that's why they're not turning over as much money, because their sponsors are going, oh, they're in the Europa League, they play on a Thursday. So, yeah, I'm not surprised we've overturned more money. We're always in the Premier competitions, we're always challenging, we're always winning. So yes, of course we're going to turn over more money. I don't think that it should be that surprising, just because, commercially worldwide as a brand, we may not sell as many shirts. I mean, we still have players that will sell shirts regardless. Holland will always sell shirts in Norway. Mahrez will always sell shirts in Algeria. He's hailed in Algeria. There's a there's a big loyal fan base. If you go on Twitter, Mahrez fans everywhere. They love him. So, you can whack out the argument for, Salah in Egypt and Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo's a big name, but Ronaldo put you in a Thursday night competition. That takes away a lot of your revenue.
Igara Papa says, I think he's an Arsenal fan. He says fans thinking their teams have a moral high ground or squeaky clean or a joke. That's what I'm saying. People are very quick to just assume that because City are in the firing line right now and all these Premier League teams are holding hands and saying we'll take down City together, that all of them are squeaky clean. We're very quick to forget when Liverpool settled a case outside of court with Manchester City for hacking our scouting system. They paid us £1 million sterling for hacking our scouting system. It didn't go the distance in court. It was settled out of court. That is cheating. Now, I'm not saying that's on the same level as some of our charges that we are alleged of breaking or rules that we're alleged of breaking, but that's still a perfect sign that Liverpool as a football club are capable of cheating. Maybe they have done more, maybe they haven't. I believe when there's billionaires involved in anything, it can't be squeaky clean. I think to be a billionaire, I've always said this, you have to be a bit shady in some shape or form. Matisse in the chat, he says, oil brothers. Man, I've told you before, we're not brothers. I want nothing to do with you and your lot. Honestly, stay out of this, Matisse. We're trying to fix this problem together and we don't need your input. You are next. And what is it we said? You must get top 4 and you must win Champions League, Tony Stark. Activate your Jarvis helmet. Turn on Jarvis and go and win the Champions League, Tony Stark. I've told you before. What are you saying, Joe?
Tony Stark. Now, listen, I just find it hilarious as well. Just on a side note, Chelsea are probably going to get done for this. Yeah, all right. At least I'd hope so. They've spent about 600 million in the last 6 months. And we're being investigated for 10 years ago. I find it crazy. Chelsea spent 600 million roughly 600 million in about 6 months. Nottingham Forest got and signed 30 players. They signed an entire new squad for the Premier League. But here we are being investigated for 2009 activities. I just don't understand anymore. Sometimes I just wonder what is the point of the entire system. Just of it's things like that make you just go, they're just out to get us. They just don't like us. They're a bit jealous. So be it. it's annoying because, again, it can have long-term ramifications in terms of going forward with transfers. I mean, there's a lot of talk of, City having to go out to their transfer targets and possibly go out and calm the nerves and go, listen, we are innocent. And we'll even put in these silly clauses that if we are found guilty, you can leave for next to nothing, sort of that sort of thing. So it can have a lot of effects on the future in terms of acquiring transfer targets, which is probably the most annoying thing, to be honest. Unless, again, we are found guilty, which we're being told we're not guilty. So we just have to believe that.
I'm just going to keep backing the club. I'm going to keep backing the club until we're guilty. I'm going to keep running the line that we are innocent because, as the law states, you are innocent until proven guilty. So there's not much more we can do. I can't even lie. Like I said, it does piss me off. It does, like, very few things from rival fans get under my skin, but it pisses me off when they start telling you, we want our trophies back. You cheated your way. Your whole thing is tainted. All your success in the last decade's tainted. You've ruined it all, basically. You've been caught out thinking they've done an absolute madness or thinking they've really done something, but they haven't. Nothing has happened to us yet. So that's what pisses me off, I suppose. Matisse, big up the chat. Yeah, listen, big up yourself, Matisse, of course, that's all love. Tell Todd Bodie to give us Chilwell. We're going to get on to Chilwell. Joe has done a bit of preparation as far as transfers go. I would like Ben Chilwell. Hugh, I expect a reaction on Sunday. Let's talk a little bit about Pep's press conference today, Joe. Obviously, some big quotes. I did a video on it earlier on saying he's not going anywhere. I'm not fucking leaving, says Pep Guardiola. Everyone said Pep's going to want to leave, man. Pep's going to want to leave. He's not going to want to be part of this turmoil. Pep backs this club, man. Pep loves this club. I've been told so many times over the years, he's only there for the money. It's an easy job. It's easy trophies. He couldn't do it basically in a tough time or if things went against him. He's backing his team now. He loves this club. He cares about it. He came out swinging today. Any other manager with less personality and less character could have come out today in that press conference and said, the club made a statement. I have no further comment. Talk to me about the game and the game only. Pep backed the club. Pep backed the owners. Pep backed the board. Pep backs his players. He backs absolutely everything. He took on every single big-hitter journalist in that room today and met them head-to-head with fire. I absolutely loved it. What did you make of his quotes? Was there any of them stood out to you? Obviously, some big quotes. He called out some big clubs. He name-dropped Daniel Levy. He told people to be careful. And he basically talked about what I was saying about heritage clubs not liking that we've come in and disturbed the peace. Big quotes from Josep.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think the worst thing possible that could have happened in that situation is if he was to say, the club have made a statement, innocent until proven guilty, I won't be talking about this. Because, if he's not confident back in his own club that that the club he manages is innocent, if he's not confident, then none of us should be. But the fact that he's confident, that's another added layer of calmness onto the whole entire situation that, Pep's been briefed, Pep's been told we are absolutely fine, or we think we are almost 100% certain we are absolutely fine. You can go and relay that message in the press conference. There was no way he was going to avoid the questions. They were going to pop up whether he chose to answer them or not. But the fact that he's answered them again, it just shows that they are confident of us coming over the other side almost completely unscathed. They're innocent, most of the charges being found not guilty. So I'm happy on that part. The fact how he said he's not going anywhere, again, that rubbishes the little rumour going around that if the club lied to him, he was going to be packing his bags and he was going to be off. That puts that rumour to bed that even if we end up in the conference, he's still going to be here. He's got no other plans other than to be here. So I'm happy. I'm very happy. It shows that he cares. It shows that, this is unprecedented. I think this is the longest that he's ever stayed at a club for. So the fact that he's still here and he's still back in the club through these sort of situations, I think if I could give him a lifetime contract, I would, honestly. I swear to God. I want him to stay forever, but of course that's not going to happen. And again, I mentioned it not too long ago that this whole situation might not be sorted until he's gone. So, he might not have to face this. He might be saying all this because he probably doesn't have to face this, but if he's confident, I'm confident, the board are confident, I think everybody here is confident. I like what he said. He wasn't going anywhere. He was on smoke once again, I think. His press conferences lately have been absolute gold mines for quotes. He's been absolutely on fire a couple of times. I think it started with after we beat Spurs 4-2, where he absolutely came out and rocketed and said, I didn't see my team and we still need to be better and that sort of stuff. And, it's continuing on now. But I think the main quote is I'm not going anywhere. That's the main one. That's the big one.
I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not leaving. Can you imagine a situation whereby, say, in a world, hopefully this never happens, but in a world, City do get sent down to League Two. Pep Guardiola stays. Yeah, Pep says, you know what? I fancy a bit of League Two, man. I want a bit of Rotherham away or whoever plays in League Two. Excuse my knowledge. But imagine Pep says, yeah, I want this challenge. I love this club so much that I'm willing to help them at their lowest time since the takeover, since pre-takeover. Imagine he goes down to League Two. Gets us back up to League One. Right, we're in League One. How's this going to go? Need to make the squad better again. Need to have another rattle at it. Obviously, we have more money than any of the clubs, but we still need to get promoted. Promoted from League One, win League One. You're in the Championship. You're one league away now from being back in the Premier League. Pep's done it. Pep's back. He's getting the team back. We win or get promoted from the Championship. We're back in the Premier League. And then imagine you go on to compete and win the Premier League again. Imagine what sort of a storyline that would be. Not even Alex Ferguson can compete with that storyline. A club wins 4 out of 5 Premier Leagues, sent down to the lowest division in the EFL, fights their way tooth and nail back to the top, and gets there. That is the stuff of dreams. That's what people do in career mode. People joke about you're playing career mode for signing too many top players. That's career mode. You start at the very bottom and you work your way back up. But in our case, it's you're at the very top, you get sent to the bottom, and you work your way back up. Please God, now it never happens. But I just think it's an amazing story. And whether Pep means what he said today or not about, send us down to League Two, we'll call Paul Dickoff and Mike Summerby and get the band back together and whatnot. Whether he means that or not, it is absolutely fantastic for us as fans to hear him say that sort of thing. Because when he was asked by that cheeky journalist about his trying to resurface his old quotes saying, when you said if you were lied to, you'd want to lead the club. How do you feel about that now? Pep met that head on and dismissed that quote completely by saying, first of all, I'm not moving from this seat. That's the big one. That quote, I'm not moving from this seat, will go down in the history books as one of the most powerful quotes in the history of Manchester City. He said that, and he said, send us down to League Two, we will be there, kind of thing. The fact that he's saying that should give Manchester City fans so much happiness and excitement to take this whole thing on. It's going to loom over us now for the best part of months, if not years. But the fact that the club, the manager, the fans have all reacted in this way is the best thing I could possibly hope for. Now, the last thing we need to click is to see that same reaction, that same passion reciprocated by the players this Sunday. It has to be that siege mentality. It has to be a turning point. We're against the world right now. Everybody wants us to be down. Everybody wants to kick us in the teeth while we're down. The players have to stand up and say, no, we want this fight. We're up for it. We're not going down. And if we're going down, we're going to go down fighting and screaming. But that's what we need to see, man. That's what we need to see. All the boxes have been ticked. The club meeting it head on. Statements. The manager press conference showed personality and character. The players now, please, players, you do it as well on Sunday. No doubt the fans will be up for it on Sunday. I've heard there's some sort of a bus welcoming on Sunday before the game. If you're going to the game, be at that bus welcoming. Get your flags, be loud, get your flares, be noisy, do whatever it is you need to do. Show those players that we're here for them. Show the club we're here for them. We're not going anywhere easily. That's what I want to see, man. This is what I need to see. I need that energy. I need that energy from the club, top to bottom, because it is us versus the world. And we've been so fortunate in the last 10, 15 years to experience everything that we have done so far. So while the club need us, we need to be there for them. That's the way I view it, Joe.
I can't wait for Sunday. I genuinely cannot wait for Sunday. Like
Grealish hat-trick.
Stop, would you? Come off it.
You could charge us with 100 things, but I will still run the agenda that Grealish is going to score.
Unbelievable. I can't wait, Everybody's seen the Holland tweet. Togetherness. And a picture of him and a picture of there's a picture of the team huddled in the training ground. Togetherness. That sums up. There was a report that came out. I forgot which I forgot who published it, but it was saying that apparently Haaland was asking for his release clause to be moved forward, and then his agency got in touch and said, false information. That is not true. He is staying.
Out and basically apologise. We got it wrong. See that?
Yeah, they came out and said, we got this wrong. They've informed us otherwise. And then they've buried that one, so that's buried. But no, genuinely, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Sunday.
Do you know what as well? With Haaland, sorry to cut across there, Joe. But it is a point I want to make with Haaland. I would expect Haaland, of all people, whatever people think of him, to be loyal to the situation. He has a father that was a part of Manchester City when the times were tough. He is a father that was a part of Manchester City before Sheikh Mansour was ever a thing. I would hope and expect that his father would say to him, listen, son, you stick by that club. They were good to me. They're being good to you. You give absolutely everything for that shirt right now. The notion that Haaland is asking for his release clause to be brought forward, or he basically wants out, I expected that the whole time to be absolute bollocks, and I'm glad it's been put to bed as bollocks. Sorry, Joe.
I mean, again, I just cannot wait for Sunday because we've been on an absolutely atrocious run of, not form, but atrocious run of consistency. The consistency has been awful. What better way to just kick us into form, have something to just kick us on? Like, if there was ever a need, if there was any extra motivation that we needed, I mean, this is the perfect thing for extra motivation. The entire league's against us. The other 19 teams in the Premier League are against us. Go and slap them up every week until the end of the season.
That's it, man. That's it. Absolutely. Use it as motivation. We're not in the best position in terms of tactics. We're not playing well. Some players don't want to be there, but the club need to pull every player in that squad either into the room, Pep's office individually, or address the squad as a whole and say, listen, I know some of you don't want to be here. I know some of you have plans of moving on in the summer. I know some of you aren't happy with your game time. I know some of you aren't happy with the positioning and the tactics, but this is not the time for individual problems. This is the time where we can really show what we're made of, really show what character we have, and not allow ourselves to be held down and kicked down by teams that just want to see the end of us. You know, those top 6 teams in the Premier League, or the other 5, and the whatever other Premier League clubs are moaning about us, they would genuinely rather City go out of existence altogether than have us continue in the Premier League in the manner in which we are. They would genuinely be happy to see City never exist again, never kick a ball in the Premier League again. That is what they would like. So we have to fight back and say, we're not going anywhere. We ain't going anywhere just yet. So that's what it is, man. That's the way I feel about Sunday. I'm going to do a proper preview myself, a pre-recorded preview, one of my usual videos that you guys seem to enjoy. That will be out tomorrow. I'll talk about that game. I'll condense into about a 10-minute conversation. But as regards to Sunday, it's a massive, massive, massive opportunity. Think about it. All is not lost. We could be top of the league by Thursday if few things go our way. Say in some weird world, Brentford managed to get a win against Arsenal. We beat Villa, then we beat Arsenal. We're top of the league. You know what I mean? There's still just under halfway of this season to go. Nothing is finished. There's no foregone conclusions. Everything is still to fight for. So if the players can't switch on now, we don't deserve it. Simple as. Listen, there's 41 in the building. I forgot to remind you guys, if you wouldn't mind doing so, just smash a quick like in the video. It really helps. And do, of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. All of your support is massively appreciated. I'm reading your messages as they're coming in. Is there anything else that you want to see from Sunday, Joe, before we move into a nice conversation, which is, of course, transfers?
Not really, no. I mean, I hope that we just crack on now. It's it's not over, but unless they can prove, they don't have to prove anything to me, but unless they can prove to me that they can be consistent, show any form of consistency. Again, I've been saying this for a few weeks now. We still haven't broken that threshold of more than 3 wins in a row in the Premier League. We still haven't broken that threshold. That's not going to win you a league. That is not going to win you a league. That will cost us if that keeps going, which we've been trying to speak this sort of winning run, unbeaten run into existence for a while now, and it just hasn't happened. So they just, again, they don't have to prove anything to anyone really, because the amount of success we've had is absolutely mental. But for me to fully go and say that we will win, I'm not saying that we don't have a chance, but I'm not going to say we will win the league until there is some substantial proof out there that we can win more than like 3 or 4 games in a row. Until as soon as we win 3 or 4 games in a row, that's when I will go, we are going to win this league. Like, this is sort of, I'm expecting a reaction. I'm not saying that it's over, but there's been nothing to tell me that we're going to break this streak of just inconsistency at the moment. But I am hoping that this whole behind the scenes thing is just going to fire them on for the rest of the season.
I'm with you 100% on the point that we haven't seen anything yet this season to go, right, yeah, we're going to win this league. No, there's no chess to be had yet. But what I will say is, people, if we beat Villa on Sunday, with a convincing performance, where the players look like they've found a new fire that we haven't seen this season. Players that haven't turned up do turn up, and it looks like a proper team performance. If I see that on Sunday and we go to the Emirates on Wednesday and beat Arsenal, those two put together, then I will start to say, right, you know what? This league, it's there for us. It's there for us. Because then that whole week we've just had, moving into next week, is a big turning point. The court case, the white paper thing, the press conference, then to beat Villa in a very powerful fashion, and then to beat Arsenal in the Emirates, obviously two big asks. This Villa game is not going to be an easy game. Big ask. Arsenal game, even bigger ask. But if we were to achieve both of those things this coming week, then I will start to go, right, we can do it. So I'm just telling you what I can feel if certain things go our way. That's what I need. That's what I need before I start to open up the real chest. My chest right now, it's like I haven't been in the gym for months. But if we get to Thursday and we've beaten Arsenal and Villa, bro, I've been benching 150 for weeks. That's the way I'll start to get. So listen, a few things have to go away, but a lot will tell us, or we'll learn a lot, I should say, about the team and the manager properly based off this Sunday's performance, because it's a weird situation to be in. I'm going to read some of the chat before we move into the transfers. Who have we got to talk about transfer-wise, Joe? We've got Ben Chilwell, Liao, Declan Rice. Anybody else?
Bellingham, Maddison. I've got Gvardiol and Hernandez, if we want to move on to those. We haven't been linked with those two, but everybody keeps talking about them.
We'll cover the big names that we've been linked to recently. You lot get below in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Keep liking the stream if you haven't done so. Subscribe if you haven't done so. I'm going to see what some people are saying about the conversation we've just had, and then we'll move into transfers. Some people talk about Mark Goldbridge. Mark Goldbridge, Rory Jennings, beware of what you say. Things can backfire. I expected more of Goldbridge, innocent till proven guilty for Mason Greenwood case, but for Man City, these lot are guilty. Listen, some people, I'm not going to talk about the Mason Greenwood case because it's nothing to do with us and I don't really want to talk about it. But some people, they talk about what they want to talk about. Goldbridge is part of that band of people who have deemed City guilty, judge, jury, and executioner. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I've said all week. So many people have decided City are guilty before any case has happened. In law, and I'm getting technical here, fair trial is how you determine whether someone is guilty or innocent. We haven't even had a trial yet, never mind a fair trial. So don't be telling me City are guilty, and don't be telling me City are innocent either, because we don't know that yet. I'm just saying I think we're innocent because what the club are saying. So don't mind Goldbridge. Don't mind these people. They're talking absolute bollocks, and they're hoping for our downfall. They want us to collapse. They're sick of this Manchester's blue nonsense. They're sick of us having title parades around Piccadilly Gardens after winning another league campaign that they couldn't keep up with us for. They spent more money than us and still couldn't do it. So they obviously want the downfall of Manchester City. Don't mind them, people. Don't mind them. Don't forget about Anthony Robinson. Yeah, we can talk about Anthony Robinson. Tyron says, and I said before, after we beat Arsenal in the Cup, that we should wait and see in 10 games how the team is. But everyone get giddy after we win 2-3 games. You have to give the team at least 10 games to judge. You can judge over a 10-game period. Obviously, it's a better representation of where the team is at. I just think that the Villa game and the Arsenal game, if we win both of them in a very powerful, convincing fashion, I will then, I will be more chesty. I will have more confidence that we can go on and win the Premier League. As it stands right now, no, we don't look like a team that could win the Premier League. We don't. That's calling a spade a spade. But there's still enough time left this season, and enough has gone against us to spark a reaction. And that's what we're hoping for as fans. Jody Hoops, honestly, do you think City are guilty? I honestly do think City are guilty, he says. But I guarantee at least 50 other clubs around the world are. UEFA, FIFA, the FA. It's just Man City are easier to pick on because they're the new kids. No one likes a new kid, Imagine you're playing for your school football team, yeah? You're in high school or secondary school, and you're playing for your school football team. You're the star striker, yeah? Everyone loves you. Everyone thinks you're great. Your place is cemented. You're comfortable. No one's overtaking you. This new kid transfers from a local school, another school, and he just takes your spot. He's much better than you. He's fitter than you. He's got better hair than you. He gets more girls than you, and he's just overall better than you. And he takes your spot. Of course you're fucking fuming. And you're going to try injure him in training to get him kicked out, to get him off the team so you can have your spot back. That's what Man United are trying to do. They're trying to injure us and get rid of us. Permanent career-ending injury. Because they're sick of us. They're not happy that we've come in and just washed them for 10, 11 years now. Like, it's not hard to understand. But it's the reality, and people don't like to understand that when we're taking that commercial revenue that they once had as Premier League winners, we're taking that commercial revenue that they once had, signing shiny players, getting sponsorships, selling merchandise at levels we've never done so before. They don't like it. When they say the optics don't look great on our part, the optics don't look great on your part as to why you want City to be guilty. You don't want us to be guilty because you don't fucking like us. I'm talking about rival fans here, and it seems from what City believe, according to reports tonight, that's what they believe, that the executives of the other surrounding clubs feel that way too. Weird times, man. Scary hours. Careful, lads. Premier League will charge you defending City. Premier League can charge me all they want. I'm just a guy in a shed. I'm just a guy in a shed in my back garden top of Manchester City. They can charge me all they want. They're not going. There's nothing worth getting out of me, man. I haven't got the money they're looking for. Why was Man City the only club who voted for the independent regular? Damn, you're asking questions here that we're not allowed to ask. Yeah, it is, like I think Joe talked about it. It is kind of coincidental that the week the white paper was meant to be brought forward, or an independent regulator was meant to be brought in, it was delayed with no reasonable reason, if you like. It's all coincidental.
Yeah,
but
and
as
then
I
they charge us, and then Man United's takeover gets close to completion, and then everything shit goes up the fucking wall, and then we wonder why we're in this situation.
We're not allowed to say this. I have nothing to do with this.
I'm allowed to. I don't care if I'm allowed to say it. I'm saying it. It's very, 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 very fucking coincidental that this has all happened in the space of a week. Very coincidental. I'm sick of it. And then they go and appoint an Arsenal fan to head the fucking case and decide it.
Mate, it absolutely reeks to the high heavens. It really reeks to the high heavens. And like I said, I made it crystal clear in my first video about this. I made it crystal clear on any shows I've been on, and I made it crystal clear on this stream too. I don't claim to be any form of genius, but I have my opinions and I make my assumptions. They could be completely wrong, and that's fair enough because I don't know what the fuck I'm on about. I'm just seeing what I see, forming my own opinion. We're all entitled to opinions. Some opinions can be wrong, some opinions can be right. But some of us that wear blue seem to share different opinions to people who wear red and white and whatever else other people wear. So, you know what I'm saying? People put two and two together. It's more times than not, it's going to equal 4. Listen, still over 40 people in the building. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hard not to be guilty when they change the rules every year. Well, that's what I'm saying. We've also been charged with things that had different rules then to what they do now. The rules have changed multiple times since we were charged with whatever it is we've been charged with. I haven't looked at, and I'm not going to look at 115.
That's where the grass came from, wasn't it? That was where the grass came from, because they charged us for something in the latest handbook, and the year they charged it from, that rule in the old handbook was fucking cutting the grass.
Mate, I will go to the Etihad if it's that big a deal. I'll get out my lawnmower and I'll cut the grass. There you go. That's one charge down.
I'll get my ruler out and I'll measure each individual blade of grass, and I'll make sure that it's no longer than 30 millimeters. I'll make sure. Don't trust me, I can do that.
There you go, man. Me and Joe, we've just got rid of one charge for you. We're doing our part for the club. We've got rid of one charge. We will ensure the grass is at a decent length. If the groundsman hasn't been doing it all along, we do apologise. But me and Joe will go and cut the grass. He'll bring his ruler and his pencil bag from school. I'll bring my lawnmower. I'll put petrol into it, and I'll make sure the grass is at a decent height. There we go. We're down to 114 charges. You're very welcome. Fucking hell, man. Listen, have I missed a prediction for the Villa game? No, we're not going to do a prediction for the Villa game, or maybe Joe can at the end of the stream, because I'm going to do my own preview tomorrow, as I have done all along. The videos that I'm doing on the channel on my own, they're doing good views, and you guys seem to enjoy them, so I'm going to keep them up as much as possible. But Joe is perfectly free if he wants to give a prediction at the end of the stream. But listen, I'm going to park the legal talk there for now, because I'm up to my neck in it all week. I'm sick of it. But I love this club, and I'm willing to talk about this club under any circumstances. Whether I enjoy it or not is one thing, but I'm willing to talk about them and defend them when I feel they need defending, because that's what you do when you love a club. Like, I'm going to Arsenal away. I've been to so many games this season, mainly away games. I'm going to Arsenal away on Wednesday, and I'm just hoping, like I said, I'll do a preview for that at the time, but like this is what you do. Tough times, you go and you support. The jealousy is beyond belief. I've never seen so much City crap. Absolutely, Alec. Time will tell. That's it. D1, how much game time do you think Perone will get this season? None. Or it'll be an extreme circumstance if he does. I love City, love oil. I love City and I love oil too. It makes for a nice bag of chips. I've loved City longer than my wife and kids. Come on, Alec, man, you're moving mad. Right, listen, Joe, what images have you got prepared in your inventory for transfer talk?
Oh, I've got various. I've given you the list. Who do you want to start with? Who do you want to start with? Any
We'll start with the
particular?
name that everybody enjoys the most, and Jude Bellingham. Yeah, we start with that one.
Let's have it. Jude Bellingham up on the screen.
Right, I had a video about Jude Bellingham go up a couple of days ago. I kind of gave my thoughts on the latest updates regarding Jude Bellingham because there was updates. It was kind of centered around how City are going to move in the transfer market based on what's happened this week, and it's also based obviously on Jude Bellingham and where he could be this week. Now, I've got the tweets here. Once again, we can talk about them. Obviously, you need to give your thoughts. The big one for me was, this is from Patrick Berger, who I'm almost certain was involved or in regularly giving updates about our Holland saga. He says, Jude Bellingham is hesitating with his decision on whether to join Liverpool in the summer. The midfielder is instead considering a move to either Man City or Real Madrid to be his best option. There's another tweet from 90 Minute Football. They said Dortmund are doing their best to hold on to him, essentially. Jack Gunn said Man City are likely, this is Jack Gunn now, big dog Jack Gunn. He says Man City are likely to be busy in the summer transfer market, and agents believe there has been no deviation from that this week. Man City will continue with any contract renewals currently ongoing and shaping their transfer strategy as initially planned. Any more about Bellingham? Yeah, one more about Bellingham from the Daily Express. This is a good one. Manchester City are set to accelerate their plans to sign Jude Bellingham this summer as the club faces charges for financial regulation breaches from the Premier League. So, Joe, what do you make of this? Bellingham, quite a few reports there. City set to step up their efforts. From what I gather, we're going to move even more aggressively in the transfer market than we did previously or before all this broke out. What do you think?
Too right, we should. Too right, we should. If they're going to try and charge us of all of this nonsense, then we should just stick the middle finger up and go, right, we'll just go and splash a bit of cash. I mean, we've got, I think the only club that haven't had a higher net spend in the last, I think it is 3 or 4 years, is Liverpool. They are the only club that hasn't had a higher net spend than us. United have had a higher net spend. Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea. I think Newcastle as well now. They've all had a higher net spend than us. So because we haven't had to have a massive refresh in the squad for, a number of years now, we should have a fair bit of cash in the transfer kitty that we just haven't spent. I mean, of course, it was only a couple of seasons ago that, it was actually last season, wasn't it, that we tried to get Harry Kane and the price was just a bit too much, and we did offer sort of, I think it was 70 million plus a few add-ons in the end. I think that was like the only concrete one that I saw. So we've got a bit of money there, and we will recoup some from player sales. Obviously, Bernardo Silva more than likely out the door. So we should have a fair bit of money, and I think that City might just look at it now and going, they're going to charge us whether we spend money or whether we don't spend money. So we might as well spend the fucking money. So I hope they go with that approach and go all out for him. There was that report by who was it by? I think it was by Time Sport. This is where most of the links that most of the players were name dropped that I prepared for was City want to sign up to, I think it's 4 players that we want to sign, or in and around that sort of 3, 4, 5 players, which I think is needed. I think if you ask anyone, we need like a big refresh, especially in the midfield. We just need something new, something different. We've got players who we don't know whether they're going to be here. We've got players who don't want to be here, that we still don't know whether they're going to be here. So I think Jude Bellingham is the obvious one. Outside of Jude Bellingham, I'm not sure. Enzo Fernandez is off the table. He went to Chelsea. I'm not really sure where else to look. There was the question before about Perron. He's not going to get any minutes. I don't expect him to kick a ball this season. They're talking about loans next season. That's exactly where we're at with him. So if we don't sign Bellingham, I'm struggling to see like an outlying candidate for who we go for instead. Considering the word is that we want 2 midfielders, I'm struggling to name one outside of Bellingham that's like a clear-cut name. So I don't know where they'd pull 2 from.
Bellingham is the obvious name. Bellingham is the obvious name. If you're going to lose Bernardo, if you're going to lose Gundo as well, possibly, Bellingham is the obvious name for long-term standard, for long-term quality. You know what he can do now. He still has so much more to give as well, which is the scary part. He's the obvious replacement, which is why these reports saying City are set to accelerate their plans to get Bellingham makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me, and I've got Liverpool fans, man. I've got Liverpool fans day in, day out in my DMs, Twitter, Instagram, Bebo, MySpace. You name the social media platform. I have Liverpool fans tweeting me and saying, He's coming to Anfield. This Liverpool journalist said, don't worry, he's coming to Anfield. Steven Gerrard is taking Bellingham for Hernando's in Dortmund, and he's going to tell him to sign for Liverpool. Trust, he's coming to Liverpool. I had your man Hussam, who absolutely roasted me on Monday about the court case thing, saying he'll shave his head. He'll shave his own head if Bellingham doesn't come to Liverpool. Now, listen, I'm not saying he's coming to City either, but what I am saying is I wouldn't be saying I'm willing to shave my head. You know what I'm saying? So
better buy them Clippers. Better buy them Clippers. Here's a 10th. Here's a 10th. Here's a 10th. You won't have that Champions League football.
What does Bellingham want to be going to Liverpool for, man? They're sitting in 10th place. There's no sign of a takeover. They're not even looking at Champions League football. They're barely looking at European football. They could be hearing the whoa, with a bit of luck. Because right now they look stinky. They could get smashed up by Sean Dyche this weekend as well. They're looking good. They'll be feeling primed, excuse the pun. Prime going to Anfield this weekend. So
God,
what does Bellingham want to go to Anfield for when the only negative to coming to Manchester City is the court case? Obviously, he may say it's not a stable place to go right now. But if I was City in any contract negotiation this summer, I would speak to that player and their entourage and say, listen, we are so confident, so goddamn confident that we're innocent. We will put in a clause in your contract saying you can leave for 50p, if we are found guilty. And then all of a sudden Bellingham and his entourage are going to go, surely to God they're innocent. Because City will have to do this on the basis that they don't believe they'll ever get to the stage where Bellingham is allowed leave for 50p. That's what they'll do, and that's how they'll put that conversation to bed. Because I've seen so many people recently last week say, how can City sign Bellingham? How can City sign Leao or Declan Rice or whoever when they've got all this looming over them? That's what they'll do. They will tell any of these players you can leave for absolutely near nothing if shit hits the fan for us and we're found guilty. But until then, it's business as usual for us. We still want to win leagues. We still want to win that Champions League. We want to sign our top targets, and we want to do everything as well as we have done beforehand. Forget this court case nonsense. You can go for 50p if that happens. What do you think about that?
There's a reason we have release clause, FC. We love a release clause. It's a smart thing to do for business sense, is to, if there's any doubts in their mind over the situation that we're going to be in a couple of years, because bear in mind, again, this case isn't going to be resolved for another couple of years anyway. So just go to them, listen, if in a couple of years or however long it takes, we are found guilty and we are sent down and relegated, here's your release clause, you can leave for that. You know, that's the smart thing to do, is to go, if you have any sort of doubt in your mind that we might not be innocent and something might happen to us, here is your one release clause of a Fredo bar for if we get put in the Vanarama.
You can leave Manchester City for one bottle of Prime. I know that might cost you £100 and what you want, but you can leave for one bottle of Prime.
That's the best shopping week, eh?
Listen, big up MCFC lads in the chat. What a legend, Luke. I just did a great show with him over on City Extra. If any of you, for whatever weird reason, are not already subscribed to Luke over at MCFC lads, go and show love to him. Great shorts, matchday vlogs, the whole lot. Just wanted to give him a quick shout out. Absolute legend. Listen, once again, like I said, regards to the transfers and the court case, that's what City will do. They will implement clauses into contracts suggesting that players can leave for stupidly low fees if shit hits the fan. That's what, in my opinion, an innocent club or a club who believes they're going to be innocent would do. And I think that's what Khaldoon and the board will do. It's good business. Jealousy makes me laugh. Some good love for MCFC lads in the chat. I'm glad to hear that. West Ham want Phillips. We should give him and some money for Declan Rice. We may as well, I suppose, move on to Declan Rice very quickly. Joe, do you have an image for him?
I do. I'm prepared.
How do you feel about Declan Rice? Obviously, Chelsea boy playing for West Ham, but they've just signed Enzo. Are they likely to go get Declan Rice as well? I don't know. How would he fit into a City system? If we were to go get Declan Rice, we'd probably have to get rid of Calvin Phillips, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with the Declan Rice situation. Of course, that'd mean Phillips would be out after one season, which it's been a tough one for him. A lot of it is not down to him. Some of it is down to him not been totally impressed. Even when he has set foot on a football pitch, I haven't been impressed by what I've seen. But I am a firm believer in second chances, second season. give players a season to settle in, and then see what they're about moving forward. We all know the track record of signings in their first seasons: Grealish, Cancelo, Mahrez. They have, gone on record to not have great first seasons. There's not too many outliers. Rodri didn't have a great first season. Haaland's come in and smashed it. We kind of all expected him to do that, though, really. I think all deep down we're expecting that one. But apart from that, there weren't, a lot of players who smashed it, who blew it out the water. And obviously, Calvin Phillips just wasn't ever going to get the chance to become a starter because he's competing with, I think, not everyone's going to agree with this because there's still some Man United fans lurking about, but Rodri is the best in the business. I'm not having anything else. That is my opinion. But we all know that Calvin Phillips just wasn't going to get that chance to, or wasn't going to get many chances to step forward. I think Rodri got injured earlier on in the season, and Calvin Phillips was also injured, so he missed an opportunity there to come and step into the team. He does his shoulder in a friendly match against Barcelona, has surgery just so he can make the World Cup. And then he comes back and Pep calls him overweight, and then he plays and he doesn't look good. And is it because he just hasn't played football? I don't know. When Phillips is on the top of his game, from what I have watched from Leeds and from England, I think he suits us more than Declan Rice. I think he wants to get on the ball a bit more. I think he can do more with the ball at his feet, which is
more progressive.
Yeah, he's more progressive than Declan Rice, which suits us because that's what we want from our holding midfielder. We don't want someone who just, people label Rodri as this sideways and backwards man. He doesn't. He can ping a 40-yard pass. Calvin Phillips can do that, which is why he's a better fit than Rice. But Rice, to my knowledge, I did a bit of research on this, has not had, so far in his career, hasn't had an injury problem. He practically never misses a game of football. And the defensive side of his game is a bit more complete, but he used to be a centre-half. I think the only thing that I'm kind of looking at here is, even if we do go Rice for Phillips, City are going to still have to pay cash. There's no way West Ham are going to go, yeah, we'll just do a straight swap. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because what has Calvin Phillips done over the last 12 months to warrant a straight swap for Declan Rice with what he's been doing? Eating Yorkshire puddings. So I wouldn't. Again, I'm a firm believer in everybody deserves a second season in terms of transfers coming in because I just think that's fair with the way that we play. It could take a while to get settled in. And again, Rice is just so expensive for a backup option. For me, I know that he's better at some things than Phillips, but Phillips suits our style of play better. When he's fit, Calvin Phillips is better suited to the way we play football with having all the ball. So I wouldn't do this. If I'm looking at it, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't push it. Obviously, later down the line, maybe not for Declan Rice, because you'll imagine he'll be snapped up at some point. I think he has 2 years left on his contract. Or it might be one. I cannot remember for the life of me. It might be an option, actually. But, I'd judge Phillips more going forward, second season onwards. If he can't stay fit, then we've got a problem. If he can't prove his fitness, we've got a problem. But I think, just give him a little bit of a chance. I'm not ready to give up on the Yorkshire pudding just yet.
Yeah, listen, I'm a big fan of Calvin Phillips. Just a quick reminder, people, once again, there's 53 people in the building. If you haven't done so already, please do smash the like button. It really, really helps the channel. And if you are new around here, subscribe if you like the content and join the great community. Some great people in the chat right now. But I've made it clear before, I like Calvin Phillips, and that's not based off what I've seen in Manchester City, which is quite sad, but it's just the reality we're in. I do like Calvin Phillips because I think he's class when he's played for England, particularly at the Euros, player of the year for England that year. He was unbelievable for Leeds under Bielsa and that kind of thing. So I'm not ready to give up on him. And someone in the chat here makes a great point, that is, he only started one game, man, played in 8. He's not even had a chance yet, in my opinion. How long do people stick by Grealish? And that's the thing. Practice what you preach. I said the whole time last season when people were against Grealish, stick by him, stick by him, stick by him, he'll come good. And whether you like it or not, right now, Jack Grealish is coming good, and hopefully he gets even better. So is that something we could see with Calvin Phillips? I don't see why not. I wouldn't be in a rush. I really wouldn't be in a rush to go and get Declan Rice. I don't think it's a player we need. We need more of an 8. We need more of a 10. We need more of a Bellingham. We need another type of Bernardo Silva player. Is that Phil Foden potentially? I wouldn't be rushing, essentially, to go and get Declan Rice. My opinion might be unpopular, but I think Rice is better than Phillips. I think they're both different players. They both possess some similar qualities, but they're both their best attributes are different, if you like. Obviously, what Joe outlined there about Declan Rice, about his injury record, is absolutely exceptional. You know, the guy seems to be fit by the sounds of it all the time, which is an unbelievable attribute, and it's a quality that any club will be delighted to have in one of their top players. So, listen, D1 says, got to talk about my player Leao next. We may as well move on to Leao. Serie A winner, Rafael Leao, Portuguese international, flary, pacey, strong, technically gifted, good finisher. He seems like absolutely everything you'd want in a footballer, and Joe is a bit of a fanboy of Rafael Leao. I'm not aware of many of the links with Leao. I know there was brief links in January saying City are interested or monitoring Leao. What I do know as well is that he is stalled or is refusing to sign a new contract with AC Milan. But you may as well take over, Mr. Leao Stan.
Mr. Leao Stan, yes, I am. I love watching him play. He's just so exciting. It's something that, again, excitement. I want my excitement back from my wingers. Grealish and Mahrez, they're good in their own right, but they are the most boring thing to watch, both of them on the play together.
Careful.
No, I think we can all agree. They serve their purpose. They do their job. They are both fantastic. But watching them at the same time is so slow and boring sometimes. I need something else. I need a little bit of spice in my life. I need something else, a bit more directness, a little bit more pace. And, I mean, Leao is that. He's got bundles of pace. He's willing to take on his man and try and get past him. I mean, there's a lot of wingers out there that could do that, but the one that keeps coming back and back and back over and over and over again is Rafael Leao, because he's got 2 years left on his contract. They want to extend his contract. There was a bit of a rumour that the negotiations have broke down, that he has come out on Twitter himself and denied that they've broken down, but they still haven't come to an agreement. So they haven't completely stopped, but they have stalled to a sense. They haven't come to an agreement, but they haven't completely broken down. So they're kind of in limbo at the moment, and with only 2 years left, I think that it's on the cards. It's that, I think it was the Telegraph that I mentioned before. I think it's that the Times Sport report saying that we were going to sign up to 4 players. It name dropped Rafael Leao as one that we were, interested in. And we seem to have been interested in him for a very long time. And I think he does have a release clause, if I'm not mistaken. I think he does have a release clause, but it is a pretty big sum. I think it's around 120 million at this current moment in time. Something along those lines. So we'd be paying a lot of money for this guy, which is something that, I mean, we spoke on Bellingham. I hope that City do go and just splash the cash, because, again, they punish us whether we do or don't spend. So we might as well spend. But I don't know whether they will do that. I mean, I don't know who else they'd get. We're in desperate need of someone of that profile, maybe not of that level, maybe not of that price, but we're in desperate need of someone of that profile, someone who has a bit of pace. We don't have that. The closest thing we have is Foden, and when he's injured or when he's not been on form recently, it's just so slow and painful to watch sometimes. It's because you get, Grealish and Mahrez, they'll have 10 touches on the edge of the box, they'll go inside or they'll go backwards, and it'll just be rinse, repeat, one side to the other, trying to... I get it's kind of the game plan to try and slowly break a team down and try and find a bit of an opening, be patient with the ball. But it's just so boring to watch, and we need something else, because teams are figuring it out and just sitting there in their penalty area and letting the ball go to Grealish and Mahrez and going, break us down, make something happen. And it's not working. I mean, against Spurs, Holland didn't have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
No shot, no touch inside the 18-yard box, no shot. Not shot on target, no shot, which I saw after the game. The last time he didn't have a shot was when there were no fans in the stadium and he was playing for Dortmund. I mean, that just kind of screams where we're at the moment, where we're in need of, even if it's just a plan B, where there's a bit of pace off the bench, a bit of directness off the bench, maybe not even to come in and start, but just off the bench. We just need something else, because, I mean, when you look at our options off the bench, it's a straight swap. It's just the same. I mean, we saw Mahrez got taken off against Spurs. Bernardo Silva went out into the wing. They offer similar things. Bernardo Silva might run at your man a little bit more, but he's not got pace. He's not got loads of pace. He's not going to burn past that man.
I'm in agreement. with the winger situation. Look, we need quite a few outgoings. We need quite a few incomings. Plan B is something you definitely need. We don't have a plan B. And I see people talking about Sane in the chat as well. People know I'm a big Sane fan. I think Leao, he possesses similar attributes, not the exact same, but he has similar stylistic tendencies to Leroy Sane. So he would definitely offer us a plan B or just a different outlet entirely with his pace and his ability to take on players on the outside and put in crosses, which, as Joe alluded to, would be a massive benefit to Erling Haaland. Obviously, we said that about Raheem Sterling just before he left, that you could see a vintage Sterling return with a proper striker beside him, and that's something that we could see Leao doing. One thing for certain, to do with buy more firepower. No one makes runs in behind anymore, says Zeno. Next one, Anthony Robinson. We don't have plans to talk about Robinson, do we?
No, but we could move on to Chilwell and just talk about left backs in general.
Yeah, listen, move it over to Ben Chilwell. He'll be the last player we're going to talk about on this stream is Ben Chilwell. Obviously, Chelsea left back. We've been in for him before he left Leicester. We didn't get him. We weren't prepared. Similar to Cucurella, we weren't prepared to pay the bucks that Leicester wanted, and we didn't end up getting him. He's gone to Chelsea. I think there's no denying Ben Chilwell is when he's fit and firing, one of the best left backs in world football. But that's his issue. He hasn't been fit and firing. He's had one or two very serious injuries which have put him out. Hasn't really found his way back into the Chelsea team properly as of yet. But you could see if Pep Guardiola got his hands on him and he was able to maintain fitness, him being a great signing, Joe.
If he was to show the levels that he has shown over like maybe a few years ago, then yes. But I don't understand. I really don't understand. I know we need a left back. I don't understand this one whatsoever. Again, I went off and I did a little bit of base research. I went on Transfermarkt and looked at injury history and that sort of thing, and roughly the prices and the contracts, because that's the main thing. You look at what money you're going to be paying for these players, because we know we need multiple. We know we need numerous players. I mean, the media reports are up to 4 players. That's not going to come cheap. So you're going to have to maybe sacrifice maybe 1 or 2, go for a little bit of a lower option. And Chilwell would possibly be a lower option. I know Anthony Robinson's probably the cheaper one, but I don't know what we're realistically looking like, because we'd be buying off a rival for 1, which is never a good thing. If he's not deemed good enough or they don't want him enough at Chelsea, then why are they so open to selling to us? I don't know, but it's puzzling. It's bizarre. He's got 44 league appearances in 3 years. That's bad. That's really, really bad. 44 league games in 3 years, just coming off the back of an ACL injury. It's not good. It's really, really not good. He hasn't got back to them levels. He had only 7 league appearances last year. He missed a lot. He's missed a lot of football. He wasn't anywhere near that England squad. Or at least I don't think so anyway. I might have been. He didn't play anyway. I'm just puzzled. I am really puzzled as to why we'd go and say this Chelsea bench left back who's coming off an ACL and has barely played football for the last 2 years. Let's go and sign him because we wanted to sign him 4 years ago before he did his ACL when he was playing regular football at Leicester. I don't get it. I really don't. I know we are in desperate need of a fullback, but this one just really, really confuses me. And it's from Romano as well, so it's like concrete evidence.
Joe, I'm getting a knock on my door. Hold the stream just for 1 sec.
I will. I'll hold the stream. I'll see what people are saying. I really rate Chilwell. Be great addition, but he's made of biscuits. Exactly. I mean, his injury history is... I don't think it was overall too bad. I think it's just the ACL. The ACL tears the killer there. I mean, we all know what happens when you tear an ACL. We saw what's happened to Van Dijk even. You don't come back the same player. You lose a little bit of pace, acceleration. I know that stuff like jumping isn't really going to be too much of a deal breaker for a fullback, but he's going to have lost a lot of his physical attributes by that ACL. So I don't know really if it's worth it, especially if there's other choices. Like if we can go and somehow manage to get a swap where we offer Cancelo and a bit of cash maybe for someone else, that I feel like there's other options out there. Ben Chilwell's not on my top option. Ben Chilwell's not my top option. He's fairly low down. I'm surprised that these came out. And again, it's from Fabrizio Romano, so I don't really know what to make of this, considering Romano said it. I know I've called Romano a fraud numerous times, but you know, if he links us to a player, I assume that that is gospel and that there is something there. I mean, the word is that we appreciate him. I don't know what we're appreciating. He hasn't played football in the last 2 years.
Yeah, listen, I kind of heard the back end of what you said there, and there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons to signing Ben Chilwell. Like I said, great footballer, has been a great footballer. His name seems to be cropping up all the time in regards to a transfer to Manchester City. So we'll just have to sit tight and see what happens. We're going to be linked with a lot of players. With the way City are saying they're going to move this summer, we're going to be linked with a lot of players. So we'll just have to see what happens. But listen, we may as well call it a night there. It's been a good stream back. It's been a while since we streamed, so it's good to see you all again in the chat. And listen, we've got nearly 70 likes, so try to get up to 70. If you haven't liked the stream, please do so and get it up to 70. If you're watching on playback, like the stream. If you're watching on playback or you're new here in general, do subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 6K, so all of your support on that road is massively, massively appreciated. I think we'll be back with a stream on Sunday night at 10:30, which, as you guys remember, the OGs who've been around for a while, we stream at 10:30 usually. So that's when you can expect us now. We're back multiple streams a week, so keep the notification bell on so you don't miss when we go live. I will continue with my daily videos, so do keep an eye on them too. I uploaded a video earlier on based on Pep Guardiola's press conference, so go back and check that video. Leave a like on it if you haven't done so already. Get that video's views up, get the love on that video up. And listen, I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. And Joe will see you on Sunday night with some Villa talk. And listen, thank you all again for coming in, and we'll see you all very soon. Wrap her up, Joe. Good night and God bless.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen